If you're passionate about capturing wild animals on camera, you've got to be ready to get up close. And sometimes that means traveling far and stepping way out of your comfort zone. But remember, these creatures don't take direction and definitely don't play by the rules. Anything can happen out there. Here are 15 moments when terrifying wild animals completely shocked the photographers. Number 15. Crocodile strolling on street. This reptile was found strolling in the streets of a village in India. People watched in shock and awe as a huge crocodile took a casual stroll through the streets. A saltwater croc, they have an enormous range, populating the brackish and freshwater regions of eastern India, Southeast Asia, and northern Australia. Highly adaptable, they're excellent swimmers and have often been spotted far out at sea or lurking in shallow streams. They lurk patiently beneath the surface near the water's edge, waiting for potential prey. They'll feed on anything they can get their jaws on, including water buffalo, monkeys, wild boar, and even sharks. Without warning, they explode from the water, grasp their victim, and drag it back in. But not on this day. There are always wild stories of even bigger animals in the wild coming into populated areas, but none quite as ferocious as the saltwater crocodile. And now, these crocs can be seen infiltrating urban areas. The crocodile was believed to have strayed into the village from the Kali River. However, it caused no harm to anyone. It took around 45 minutes for forest officials to rescue the reptile. Then, it was released back into the river. Number 14. Horse fights an alligator. Nothing like Animal Kingdom rivalries, but horse versus alligator isn't the typical opponent we'd match up. But this is Florida after all. The fight in Florida's Paynes Prairie Preserve was captured by a group of friends who just happened upon the incident in the middle of a nature hike. This state park does have a population of wild horses, and Florida is famous for its gators, so maybe we're not surprised this happened, but certainly glad it was caught on camera. The two animals clashed after the horse appeared to be trying to protect its offspring, while the rest of the horses were eating grass only a few feet away. One horse was very close to the alligator. The alligator had its tail facing the horse and didn't seem to be threatening the horses, but do not get too close to a powerful horse mom protecting her new foal. After a couple of passes from the horse, the gator manages to crawl off the trail while the horse saunters back toward its group. And that's that. The Florida wild horse has Spanish descendants that were first brought to the Americas in the 1500s after Spanish horses were left behind when explorers came to America. The Florida cracker horse was born. Number 13. The Octopus Armorer. These veined octopuses tote around coconut shells that they then hide in. These dexterous creatures were observed stockpiling discarded coconut halves, carrying them, and later using the oversized pieces to build a protective armored covering. Here's why it's a big deal. The veined octopus uses the coconut shells as actual tools and is able to deploy them as needed. It's able to seal itself inside a hollow coconut husk, using its suckers to hold two halves of a shell in place. Because it has the foresight to carry around the components of a makeshift panic room, this means the octopus is even smarter than originally believed. Unlike hermit crabs that live inside their body armor, the veined octopus only uses its armor when it senses danger. Scientists are now discovering that some marine invertebrates possess abilities once thought to be reserved just for humans. These are tried-and-true tool users. Researchers are placing veined octopuses in the rare ranks of birds, chimpanzees, humans, and a few other animals that put objects to more complex use. The clever invertebrates purposefully collect, transport, and then assemble the coconut shells for deployment only when needed. The coconut becomes an octohood. Number 12. Elephant babies in mud. The elephant's temporal lobe, the area of the brain associated with memory, is larger and denser than that of people. Hence the saying, elephants never forget. We're pretty certain these playful elephants won't forget playing in the mud. It's a go-to in the hot African plains to cool off. The blazing heat and UV radiation can be deadly for anyone. Just like Mama Toothpick, yes, that's the elephant's name, and her new baby, the sweetest little elephant named Satsi. Baby elephants can walk within 20 minutes of being born, but you can see how exciting it is for them to discover mud on a hot day. The elephants may look like they're having a blast rolling around in the mud, but it also serves a multitude of benefits. Mud baths not only cool them down but provide a natural sun protection layer to shield their body from the sun's damage. It's also a major relief from bug bites. Number 11. The Leopard Shark Hug. If you'd like to swim with them, leopard sharks are generally found along the Pacific coast of North America. But just ask yourself, should you really hug a shark? For this person, swimming with sharks is just another day on the job. Filmed at an aquarium in France, a friendly technician found the leopard shark's sweet spot while doing some maintenance checks in the shark tank. As they clean the glass, a number of fish swim around. When the shark moves in, it swims in a circle and heads directly toward the technician's chest. Anticipating the shark getting too close, they open their arms and are greeted with a good old-fashioned hug. We all could use a hug now and then. In fact, It's a well-used tip in these situations. A belly rub can calm a nervous shark. They just love it. But don't try it if you ever come in contact with a shark. This is a trained professional. The shark, who appears to be smiling, then moves under the technician's arm to get in a better position for that friendly belly rub. Eventually, the satisfied shark swims away, and the friendly staff member gets on with their work duties. Unfortunately, films like Jaws have painted sharks in a fictitious light. However, this video has people rethinking their perceptions of these ancient ocean creatures. Now it's time for today's topic. On a routine wildlife tour deep within Florida's Everglades, National Geographic photographer Susan Keller captured something that left both scientists and locals in shock. A massive alligator estimated to be over 18 feet long, rising from the water and nearly climbing onto the side of a tour boat named Jacana. The incident occurred near the Shark Valley area, a known hotspot for alligator activity. Keller and a group of eco-tourists were documenting the region's biodiversity when the giant reptile emerged without warning. It stood nearly half its body out of the water, towering over the boat's railing, prompting gasps and a flurry of camera shutters. Wildlife biologist Dr. Raymond Ellis later examined the footage and confirmed this could be one of the largest American alligators ever documented, possibly exceeding the famous 17.4-foot record from Alabama. Its age could be upwards of 80 years, he said, and it likely survived decades due to its remote location and cautious behavior. While no one was harmed, the event raised questions about the growing number of supersized predators in the Everglades. Whether due to genetic anomaly or perfect survival conditions, this colossal gator is now the center of worldwide fascination. Number 10. The incredible white puffin of Handa Island. The Scottish Wildlife Trust has reported that a rare white puffin has been spotted on a small island off the Sutherland coast in the Highlands. First seen on Handa Island by a seabird field worker, despite the nickname Clowns of the Sea, puffins are agile birds that can fly up to 55 miles per hour, beating their wings 400 times a minute. They can also dive for up to 1 minute at a time, pushing through the water with their wings as they hunt for small fish. What made this sighting extraordinary was not only the puffin's pale appearance but its confident behavior among its more colorful peers. Unlike albinism, leucism doesn't affect eye color, allowing this puffin to maintain its sharp vision for survival. Observers noted how the bird blended surprisingly well with the whitecaps on the sea during takeoff and landing. Wildlife photographers flocked to the island hoping to catch a glimpse of the puffin in flight, its ghostly silhouette cutting through the overcast sky. Leucistic puffins are so rare that only a handful of documented sightings exist across Europe. Conservationists are concerned that such individuals may struggle socially or face difficulties during mating. However, this particular puffin seemed accepted by the colony, perching confidently on rocky ledges alongside others. Some researchers suggest that the lack of pigmentation could actually help avoid predators by breaking up the bird's outline against the sea foam. The puffin was also observed engaging in courtship displays, bobbing its head and rubbing beaks with another bird, perhaps a sign of healthy integration despite its condition. It's moments like these that remind us how nature can surprise even the most seasoned scientists. But unfortunately, they're listed by the International Union for Conservation of Nature as vulnerable to extinction. They face a number of threats, mainly a dramatic shortage in sand eels, important sources of food for these rare birds. Handa Island is managed as a wildlife reserve and is internationally important for the breeding of seabirds, including guillemots, razorbills, and great skuas. On Handa Island, a small breeding population of puffins is bolstered later in the summer by hundreds of non-breeding birds. This young puffin has only a few black feathers, and its bill is largely a vibrant orange. The bird's lack of pigmentation was caused by a genetic condition called leucism. This is a very rare sighting indeed. Number 9. Seagull steals GoPro. From the very beginning in this clip, you just know the seagull is looking for trouble. We've all heard stories about how gulls will steal food right off of people's plates or knock it out of your hands, and then all their buddies turn up and feast away. In this hilarious footage, an innocent tourist left his GoPro camera alone when a curious, thieving seagull crept up on it and picked it up in its mouth while it was still recording. At first, it looks like the bird is just inspecting the strange object, tilting its head with that classic gull curiosity. Then, with a sudden lunge, it snatches the device and flaps into the sky, triggering a wave of laughter and panic from the nearby crowd. The footage becomes unexpectedly cinematic as the GoPro captures panoramic views of rooftops, boats, and sparkling turquoise waves. The gull's wings rhythmically frame the lens, creating an almost artistic effect. Some viewers even commented that the bird's glide was smoother than some drone footage. A few seconds in, it swoops low over a family eating lunch, perhaps tempted to try and nab a sandwich mid-flight. Seagulls are infamous in tourist towns for their cunning behavior, especially around open-air cafes and beachside vendors. There have been stories of gulls stealing wallets, sunglasses, and even hats, often returning to the same spots again and again. Researchers believe these birds are rapidly adapting to urban environments, learning how to exploit human behavior in surprisingly strategic ways. The bird flies, touches down once again, and even catches the tourist running after it. We can hear the sound of the tourist shouting and whistling for the bird to return with his device. But this eagle and the camera appeared to be in a very high altitude, so there may be a shortage of food, so it makes sense that a hungry gull might have a go at a GoPro if it thinks it's a meal. You do, however, get some beautiful bird's-eye views off the coast of Spain. The bird flies in a circle over the bay and then touches down once again, and rather humorously captures the tourist. GoPro Gold is actually quite scary if you don't like heights, but this seagull might have a future in nature photography, plus theft. Seagulls are notoriously stealthy. Number 8. Bald eagle roost in town. It may surprise you, but eagles have learned to be opportunistic when it comes to hunting and gathering in remote areas. These apex birds have gone so far as to compete with the human population for a snack. The locals have been subjected to birds picking through their trash, poaching from their boat decks, even flying away with people's groceries. Welcome to Unalaska, Alaska. Locals have reported seeing eagles waiting patiently outside grocery stores like winged pickpockets, scanning for unattended bags. In some cases, the birds have followed people home, learning their routines in hopes of stealing a meal. One shop owner said an eagle flew off with an entire bag of Doritos right from his front porch. With wingspans reaching up to 8 feet, the bald eagles can appear downright intimidating, especially in large flocks. Some fishermen even wear hard hats during certain seasons to avoid talon strikes. Tourists might find the birds majestic, but residents often feel more like they're living among feathery pirates. The local post office has had to shoo away eagles perched atop mailboxes, waiting for unsuspecting carriers with food in hand. And don't even try eating lunch outside during fish processing season. In Unalaska, it's not uncommon to see eagles dive-bomb dumpsters, pulling out fish guts and flying off like it's a buffet. The eagles can get pretty aggressive, with reports of one teenage resident having a slice of pizza ripped out of his hands by a hangry bald eagle. There's not a lot that locals can do. However, federal law prohibits harassing the eagles in any way, as they're protected by endangered species laws. The birds are especially fond of Dutch Harbor, in which more fish are caught than in any other harbor in the country. Hundreds of pounds of pollock, cod, halibut, and crab, an appealing port of call for hungry eagles. Unalaska can lay claim to a world superlative, one of the highest concentrations of bald eagles anywhere in the world. But with their sharp, big claws and beaks, residents aren't eager to get especially close. Today, over half the nation's bald eagles live in Alaska. Number 7. Attenboroughs gorillas. It's the most famous natural bridge building and nerve-wracking introduction ever captured in the history of BBC programming. The astounding moment when naturalist Sir David Attenborough became the plaything of a baby gorilla, the newest member of a gorilla family. But would you believe it? The scene was almost edited out, left on the cutting room floor, as they say. The series producers thought it wasn't essential for their landmark series. They were wrong. The series was first broadcast in the UK in 1979 and is regularly voted one of television's most memorable moments. These animals are dangerous but are so sensitive and intelligent, and it's never been captured better than in this footage. At the time, filming great apes in their natural habitat was a major logistical challenge, involving weeks of quiet observation and slow, careful movement through the dense Rwandan forest. Sir David and his crew had to rely on local trackers who understood the gorilla's behavior patterns and vocalizations. The silverback male kept a close eye on every move, but allowed the interaction, a rare gesture of trust. The footage showed an unprecedented level of peaceful coexistence between humans and one of our closest relatives. Viewers around the world were left in awe of the gorilla's calm demeanor and expressive personalities. The young gorilla's playful tug-of-war with Attenborough's shoelaces became an instant cultural moment. Schools, scientists, and conservationists cited the scene for decades as proof of the power of emotional connection with wildlife. That single broadcast would later inspire countless conservation efforts across the globe. Sir David had wanted to use the gorillas as a backdrop and instead came face to face with the adult female. He won the gorilla's trust by standing his ground. When Sir David returned the next day, the female and 2 young gorillas began to groom and play with him, pawing his face and taking his shoes. When his encounter with the gorillas was broadcast, the creatures numbered under 250 in the world and were predicted to be extinct by the end of the century. But there are now more than 1,000, although they're still endangered. It's an extraordinary conservation success story. Number 6. Sleeping Chinese elephants. This herd of wild Asian elephants was tracked to a forest just outside a township around 70 miles southwest of Kunming City in China, and at just the right moment, too. They stopped for a rest after a 15-month journey far out of their natural habitat. an odyssey that's captivated the world. But clearly exhausted, this sleepy herd. The travels of the elephants, first detected leaving their natural habitat last year, have captivated people around the globe. Wildlife authorities are struggling to understand why the group of 16 elephants went on the move. Some experts believe the matriarch of the herd may have simply made a wrong turn, while others think environmental pressures pushed them further out. Along their route, the elephants wandered through villages, paused in suburban streets, and even took naps in open fields, moments that were shared worldwide on social media. Drone footage captured one tender scene of the herd curled up together in a forest clearing, drawing international admiration. Communities scrambled to stay out of their path while also marveling at their grace and gentleness. Schools were closed, traffic redirected, and even water supplies were rerouted to ensure their safety. Conservationists see this as a wake-up call, emphasizing the growing tension between development and wildlife. Their journey has sparked a renewed national interest in elephant conservation and habitat protection. It could be that the space available for remaining native elephant communities has shrunk over the years, with the tropical forest being replaced with banana, tea, or rubber plantations used to plant lucrative raw materials for traditional medicine. Yet elephant numbers have almost doubled recently. The elephant's presence has caused at least $1 million in damage. The animals have been eating crops, damaging buildings, and poking their trunks through doors and windows during their adventure off the beaten path. Emergency personnel, vehicles, and drones were deployed with more than 2 tons of elephant food and continued efforts to lead the elephants away from human areas. Number 5. Penguins on a field trip. These social animals love adventure. The first leg of the excursion was all about enjoying the fresh snow itself, showing the penguins waddling through the white stuff and staring up into the flakes. The cool thing is, the polar bears and penguins are literally from similar climates, just opposite ends of the world. The 7 penguins from the Antarctic strolled over to the habitat belonging to Callie, the polar bear from the Arctic at the St. Louis Zoo, and the world fell in love. The introduction is actually very monumental because it's almost next to impossible that the 2 species would meet in the wild. Zoo officials planned the meeting carefully, ensuring both species would remain safe while still enjoying the experience. The penguins, curious and confident, walked right up to the glass, seemingly intrigued by Callie's massive presence. Callie, in turn, paced gently and followed their movements with keen interest. Staff reported the polar bear displayed playful behavior, including tail wagging and mock charges, indicating excitement rather than aggression. It's a surreal meeting of 2 iconic animals, one from the top of the world and one from the bottom. Videos of the event quickly went viral, racking up millions of views and sparking global smiles. Kids visiting the zoo were particularly fascinated, with many calling it the coolest thing they'd ever seen. These moments not only entertain but also educate, highlighting the impact of climate change on polar species. Genta penguins and king penguins love the cold but live at the zoo in a climate-controlled habitat. These lucky penguins have the option to take regular strolls outside of their enclosure, and certainly, they love the freedom. The bears get a kick out of it, gazing at their new friends through the glass. After seeing this video, your dream job might change to professional penguin walker. We can imagine the animal encounters are very stimulating for the animals, and certainly, the buzz these penguins create really brings people into the popular attraction. Number 4. Incredibly rare crusty nautilus. Among biologists, the crusty nautilus inspires them to no end for the simple reason that it appears to be one of the greatest survivors on our planet. A living fossil thought to have survived 2 ice ages and predate dinosaurs, making them one of the planet's most elusive and unknown inhabitants. What of this crusty creation? They're living fossils due to the distinctive shells that have appeared as fossils over a 500 million year period. This makes any survivors vital to scientists and ocean fiends. Their unique buoyancy system, regulated by a series of internal gas-filled chambers, allows them to rise and sink with surprising precision. Despite their ancient lineage, very little is known about their daily behavior or reproductive patterns. These shy, deep-water dwellers only rise to shallower depths at night to feed, making them incredibly difficult to study. Researchers have recently deployed remote-operated vehicles to capture rare footage of these creatures in their natural habitat. Intriguingly, they seem to show signs of spatial memory, an ability once thought to be exclusive to more complex animals. Conservation groups are now working to get nautiluses protected under international trade agreements. Their slow growth rate and low reproductive output make recovery difficult once populations decline. Now, rare crusty nautiluses face another obstacle: humanity. The desire for precious metals found on the seabeds that the crusty nautilus calls home is disturbing nautilus populations. Unfortunately, it's the very popularity of their beautiful, spiraled, and internally chambered shells that threatens the species most. The shells are pricey and highly coveted, but despite all these threats and the nautiloid's long history, fascinating discoveries are still being made about these amazing creatures. It's really nice to see an old friend after a long absence. 30 years after it was first discovered, we're guessing this species will endure for millennia to come. Number 3. The rare Chinese white dolphin. A group of Chinese white dolphins was spotted in the waters of the Pearl River estuary in southern China. The mammal, under first-class state protection, is born black, turns pink with gray spots when young, and gray-white or pink in adulthood. The official confirmation came after video footage was widely shared online. Marine biologists were quick to verify the sighting, noting that the species has seen a population decline due to increasing industrial activity and habitat degradation. Conservationists celebrated the moment as a small victory in their ongoing battle to protect China's marine biodiversity. In recent years, local fishing communities have been encouraged to participate in dolphin monitoring programs. These dolphins use echolocation to navigate the murky estuary waters, making them highly adapted to their environment. Some studies even suggest that the Chinese white dolphin population in the area may be more genetically unique than previously believed. Ecotourism focused on dolphin watching has grown in popularity, bringing attention to the species' plight. Acoustic monitoring devices have been installed in key locations to better understand their movements and communication patterns. Due to their rarity, they're often referred to as pandas of the ocean and are known for their friendly nature. They're usually found in coastal waters of the eastern Indian and western Pacific Oceans, including the brackish waters of the Pearl River estuary. Chinese white dolphins have first-class state protection in China and have been on international conservation lists for decades. The rare sighting prompted local authorities to guide the animal back to its usual habitat about 186 miles away. Elsewhere in China, a freshwater dolphin that graced the Yangtze River for 20 million years and was declared extinct in 2006 was reported to have been seen again on a stretch of Asia's longest river near the city of Wuhu. China dolphins are considered good luck, so we're assuming these rare white dolphins are extra lucky. Number 2. Octopus punches a fish. The octopus is one of the world's most clever creatures and demonstrates many signs of intelligence. We're guessing these octopuses are the masterminds behind this strange relationship. However, the fish are much less friends than they are unpaid employees, whether they like it or not. For example, octopuses pursue prey that dart around rocks and tight spaces in the reef, while bottom-feeding fish like the yellow saddle goatfish follow behind the octopus, and other fish species patrol the water column. What's fascinating is how the octopus uses its arms not just to move or hunt, but to communicate and manipulate. Some researchers have observed octopuses coordinating attacks with remarkable precision, herding fish like sheepdogs. In these cooperative scenarios, the octopus essentially becomes the leader of a temporary hunting party. Scientists have even seen octopuses change skin color and texture mid-hunt, possibly as a signal to fish partners. Yet, just as often, the octopus turns on its allies if the situation benefits it. These sudden punches aren't random. They appear to target specific fish, usually the ones not pulling their weight. Occasionally, the punched fish swims away, disrupting the group and reshaping the hunt's dynamic. It's a strange balance between cooperation and domination, more strategic than previously thought. Octopuses, however, gain control by striking at their fish partners using an arm to get them to their preferred position. We didn't say it's always the friendliest relationship, but this swift jabbing motion with one arm is called punching. Those collaborations don't always work out so well for the fish. In a new study, researchers described a collaborative arrangement between octopuses and different species of fish. They discovered that the fish and cephalopods hunt for food in pairs, and these alliances between octopuses and coral reefs can involve multiple participants of various species. Though octopuses were known to throw defensive jabs when attacked or while fighting over food, this is the first time their punching has been scientifically linked to collaborative hunting. Number 1. Jumping crocodiles on tour. This rivalry goes beyond putting on a show for photographers and smartphone-wielding tourists. It's a blood feud between the two dominant male saltwater crocodiles. Two of Australia's biggest and most savage crocs get locked in a territorial battle royale, all caught on camera. But that's pretty normal behavior on adventure boat cruises like these. Just keep your hands in the boat. The vicious crocodile known as Brutus gets fed along the Adelaide River in Australia's Northern Territory as part of a wildlife sightseeing tour. His opponent was the crocodile known as the Dominator. At over 18 feet in length, both crocodiles are prehistoric-sized beasts, easily capable of flipping a boat if provoked. Brutus famously lost a front leg years ago, likely in a similar clash with another male croc, yet he still dominates his territory with brutal efficiency. The Dominator, on the other hand, is younger, sleeker, and just as deadly, an apex predator with something to prove. Onlookers have reported moments when the water churns violently, followed by an eerie silence before one of the giants resurfaces. Locals say the rivalry has been simmering for years, and each encounter inches closer to an all-out war. Tour operators often refer to their confrontations as crocodile chess, each move calculated, each lunge possibly fatal. There are even rumors of nocturnal battles that tourists never see, with bite marks and missing chunks the only morning clues. Operators do their best to keep the two dominant male animals separated. However, this big boy will no doubt try to kill the other soon enough, and the tour guides know it. However, they are well taken care of. The crocs get fed good quality meat 4 times a day, which helps keep them less territorial. Jumping out of the water is good exercise and burns off lactic acid. The cameras just keep on rolling. Crocodiles are often viewed in cages or enclosures, so this is the best way to see crocodiles 100% in the wild. Which of these wild animal encounters shocked you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.